All right, Nicholas, are we live?
Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe, maybe.
Maybe
Ah,
fuck
Jesus.
yourself. What an all time? I love that line. That's one of my from the Departed. Like that's like one of my favorite lines of all time in a movie. Marky Mark at his finest.
Oh, geez, that and Invincible. I think the only two things I can somewhat stand him in.
Did you like him in the other guys?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
100%, 100%,
You learn how to
100%.
dance sarcastically? So stupid.
That movie is tremendous. Nicholas, how are we doing? How's your week going?
It's going great. It's going great because I got a nice unboxing delivered to me, really fresh and quick. I'm getting ahead of myself though. How's your week going?
You were not authorized, my friend, for said unboxing.
You're right.
You're right. So we have made it, Nicholas. But before we get to that, right? Before we get to our influencing debut. Oh, is that? Oh, look how cute is that?
What the hell? I can't even make out. Oh, is that Pikachu?
It's Pikachu. This was an
Oh,
early Father's Day gift.
oh,
Little.
very nice. The green screen's messing with it because
It
apparently
is.
yellow gets messed up by it too.
Yeah. That's why I can't wear my Pirates hat.
That's right.
But anyways, Nicholas, I want to I want to take a moment here, to sort of acknowledge, what we do. We are two grown ass men. One of us in their 40s, one of us in their early 30s. I won't say who is who. You can figure it out by watching us. But it was brought to my attention, Nicholas, that sometimes the um, the inflection in my voice, my delivery, um, is not serious enough for comic books. Books with pictures in them. So what I'm going to try and do, right? Because I am a man of the people, Nicholas, right? And I
Sure.
do I do take feedback.
Oh,
I'm going to I'm going to try and deliver us an intro that is befitting the seriousness of the medium in which we are podcasting from our basements, or at least one of us from our basements. Again, I won't say who is who. Nerd. So, without further ado, Nicholas, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, the Too Long Didn't Read Studios humbly, proudly presents to you for what some might say might be the greatest podcasting team in the world. He, of course, is the well coiffed comic book writer, Nicholas J. Friar. And I, your humble host, am your friendly neighborhood backcracker, Dr. Joe. And together, we are the Too Long Didn't Read Comic Book Club, baby. And that, my friends, is the way that it is. I mean, it doesn't get much more serious than that, right?
yeah, that was very serious. Honestly, Joe, like I feel like we need to send that reel over to Goo of the Mac and Goo program and let them know, like, hey, if you guys need any fill-ins doing the news in between shows, you may need to come for Goo's job. You may not like that actually.
And
Or I
that's
think
the
about
way it is.
it.
Dr. Cronkite here.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Oh,
I mean, one, I feel like being trolled is a sign that we've made it, right? People
yeah.
being angry at us, right? Is they're watching, they're forming opinions. Um, Being told that I talk like I love this. I believe the criticism, the critique was no one takes you serious when you sound like a hack radio DJ,
Oh, that's what it was.
sports host, right? Sports talk host.
I resent that.
So I went back and I watched the reel and like, I don't know, it's how I fucking talk. I'm sorry.
I don't get it. I
Maybe
mean,
it was the I made like these little over the top sounders, right? So
mm,
like if you can't like listen, we're two grown ass men talking comic books. If you can't have fun with what you're doing, right? Then I'm sorry. You can go watch some, CBS, Sunday morning, right? Right. This is why nobody watches
we're not
CBS
talking,
Sunday morning.
Joe. We're not talking about that. We're not talking
Fucking
about that.
fucking bullshit. This is why nobody watches CBS Sunday morning. So,
That show is
listen,
brutal.
I love what I do. You love what you do. We have fun. I apologize to those who don't like the sound of my voice. Um, but I guess I would love to hear that person's opinion on how I say Spider-Man. That must really go up that person's chute. But
Yeah.
anyways, Nicholas.
Well, no,
Anyways,
no, no. I'm going to say something now. People need to get the fuck over themselves. And like you said, we're having fun. That's fine. But also, I welcome the hate because that means that we're reaching more people. That's important. We
we
need to get that. So
we
if
made it,
we're not
baby.
getting that, then I would be upset. I know that you don't always like that. I want that. We need that. So
I mean, that
respectfully,
honestly, that cracked me up.
yes,
I got a good shot.
yes. So it's part of in doing sports, you get plenty of that. So it's unfortunately, I thought in this space we wouldn't get that when when I first started doing this stuff. When I first started doing reviews years ago, and I was quickly proven wrong. But anyways, yes. So we mentioned earlier we had a little unboxing. We've done some informal unboxings before, but Mad Cave had actually reached out to us about doing an unboxing for their budding Underworld universe. And Joe did a little something special. The FOC on that package that Joe broke down and went through is May 12th. So make sure you go to your local comic book shop. Let them know that you want that, and make sure you go check out the entire video, the entire breakdown that Joe did. You'll see exactly what he's looking at. This big crossover event that's coming from Mad Cave. Joe already talked about that universe on the show recently. Maybe that may or may not be why he did that at that time. But some good stuff there. You can find that on TikTok. You can find it on YouTube and on our Instagram page. What?
Don't fucking tell the people how the fucking sausage is made. Jesus
You
Christ.
do that all the time. You do that all the
Show me
time.
the receipts. As
You,
Whitney said, show me the
it's
receipts.
not. It will not take me that long. You're always like, I'm an honest man. I'm a man of the people. You say all that stuff, and every time I shake my head, you're always like, that's what I do. So you can also fuck off. All right, let's get to a little bit of catching up. Before we have our May solicit, we got 4 weeks to get through. Obviously, the what's new this week, and then the other 3 weeks throughout the course of May. So you guys have your checklist throughout the course of the month. You don't have to wait for when we do what's new on a week-to-week basis to know what's supposed to be coming out, at least based on what we've seen so far. Of course, there can be publishing issues. Everybody who listens to the show, I think, knows that happens a time or two. But in catching up, Joe, I got nothing specific that I wanted to highlight this week, but I know you have at least one book that you're saving as a surprise for me.
Are you sitting down?
Yes, actually, I am today.
Have you taped down your nips?
I told you that in confidence, you fucker. I'm swearing a lot today.
Well, I don't want them to be blown off here.
Okay.
Nicholas.
What?
I went on a reading bender, and I read all 15 issues of The Sacrificers this weekend.
You didn't! Holy shit! That's awesome. What'd you think?
It was fucking tremendous. Excellent. I still don't love some of the character designs, but I did find something that freaked me the fuck out more than the fucking pigeon people. And that's the tiny ass whale head people.
Oh yeah, they're pretty terrifying.
Oh, that like all of a sudden, like, all right, this pigeon motherfucker ain't so creepy looking. But in all seriousness, because this is a serious medium, Nicholas. I mean, Rick Remender's tremendous, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely fantastic writer. And I still have to like get through Deadly Class, but man, like this was one of the most engrossing, engaging stories I've read. And it's a damn shame that I sort of let my foolish foibles prevent me from digging into this book when it first arrived. Everything about it, right? Like the character study work that's going on here, the plot, like every twist and turn. I don't think there's a single good guy in the book. Right? Like you have characters that you root for, then you go, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair way to put it. When I talked about it on the show, I think it was at the end of the first arc, maybe it's somewhere in the second arc. But yeah, like a lot of stuff changes by the time you get to the end of the
Yeah.
third arc.
Yeah. It's absolutely wild. And I believe we're getting more, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's more to be told. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
an
yeah, there has to be.
outstanding
So
fantasy series.
it's
Dude, how about the like without like getting into specifics, like the machine that the or machines that are prominent in here? That's awful.
oh man, yeah, there I mean, there's just so many layers to this story. And the characters, there's not a single one note character. The only single one note character in this book might be the pigeon father, who's a real piece of shit.
I think that's yeah.
Um, you know, but other than that, like there's so many layers to these characters. Like I said, one moment you're rooting for them, you feel bad for them. The next one you go, like, like there's this great evolution that happens throughout this story, both with the plot and with the characters, and they all sort of go through these different iterations. Um, and that's a difficult thing to do in 15 issues. It might not sound like it, but like to really have the twists and the turns and the ups and the downs and everything that were with it. This is an absolute must read, excellent series. So I didn't want to give you the satisfaction of doing it for a trade because I didn't want you to get one right eventually. So
Yeah.
I did a lot of reading over these past years, which brings me to my year-to-date comics counter. I wanted to bring this up because that was 15 issues alone, not to mention all the books that we're going to be talking about dropping for this week. But I'm up to 415. Where I
Nice.
need to be at the end of May to stay on pace for 1,000 is 422. So I will
Oh, look at
well blow
you.
past that this month. So I'm trying to keep ahead. So in case there's a month where I don't do as much reading, I'm still on pace. So
Nice. Yeah, you got it.
yeah.
Good stuff happens. I want to say though on the sacrificers note, I think that I think there are like some characters who you can debate like whether or not they're heroes in any capacity, but I think there's one character at least that is like definitive, like anybody can root for her, and it's the pigeon daughter. She's like the one like pure soul in the entire
Yes,
story.
yes, I
That's
would
it.
agree. I
'Cause at
would
first when you said
agree.
that, I'm like, I don't like everybody like there's some people you can make a case for more than others, but like I couldn't think of anybody who was like definitively a quote
Yeah,
unquote
no,
good
you're
guy
right.
in this story.
100%. Yep.
But that's saying a lot. Like that's everybody's going through a
Because
lot of different
the character you want to root for, you're like, but you get their motivations too, right?
yeah,
And so
exactly.
like, yeah, it's excellent.
Yeah.
It is a wonderfully excellent book.
There's a lot of awesome stuff in that series. Definitely something worth checking out. And like Joe said, 15 issues in that thing. So you guys can go and pick up the trades, binge through that, and then start reading along with the rest of us. But with that, that was the best catching up in a long ass fucking time. Now let's get into what's new this week as we kick off our solicit. So starting off, Major, what do we have from Marvel?
Well, I'm going to say in general, Nicholas, this first week of May might be the single best week of comics we've had year to date.
You might be right. You might be right.
And I would say a big portion that will be coming from DC, which you will touch upon in a moment. But first, let me get to Marvel or Marvel. I've heard it both ways.
Stop fucking
Uh,
around. You're gonna get people upset.
okay.
Oh no, you got the giggles now.
For New Comic Book Day, May 7th, 2025, year of our Lord. Here we go, Nicholas J. Friar, Esquire. No, your middle name's G. It's J now.
It's close enough. Works.
It's J now.
Yep.
From Marvel, we have X-Men issue 16, The Amazing Spider-Man issue 3, Deadpool issue 14, Storm issue 8, Psylocke issue 7, Laura Kinney Wolverine issue 6, All New Venom issue 6, Spider-Gwen, The Ghost Spider issue 13, West Coast Avengers issue 7, Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe One Last Time issue 2. Excellent, excellent, excellent issue, by the way. I am loving the multiverse hero slash villains. In this series, like the character design for Venom Spider-Man was excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. Sam Wilson, Captain America, issue 5. And then we have a slew of number ones that I'll rattle off real quick before we discuss the one book from Marvel that we do want to dive a little bit deeper into, Nicholas. We have Star Wars issue 1, written by Alex Segura with art by Phil Noto. I had every intention. This is the one book I think this week that I wanted to read that I didn't get to.
Ooh.
So I do want to check that one out. We have Fantastic Four Fanfare issue 1. This is written by Mark Waid with art by Ramon Rosales. We have It's Jeff Week issue 1, written by Kelly Thompson with art by Gustavo Duarte. And then we have Amadeus Cho, the 20th anniversary special, issue 1. This is written by Greg Pak with art by Takeshi Miyazawa.
Before we go into the book that we wanted to break down, I think this is important to read this first sentence for Star Wars because I did not know this.
Oh, yes,
and
yes.
I think this is important for people to know, for the Star Wars fans, especially coming off of May the 4th. First sentence for Star Wars issue 1. An epic new adventure begins for Luke, Leia, and Han in the wake of Return of the Jedi. So this is happening right after episode 6. So make sure, like, that's big. Because at first, when you said, "Oh, this is the one book that I may want to check out this week," I was like, "Why?" And then I saw that first sentence. I had missed it. That is definitely something worth giving a look.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, that's the one I will get to. I will get to later this week. But the book we want to discuss, Nicholas, dive a little deeper into, if you will, and that's Ultimate Wolverine issue 5, written by Chris Condon. Nicholas, what did you think?
Oh man, Ultimate Sabretooth.
Oh,
Fucking awesome.
my
dude.
guy.
Yeah.
My guy.
Wow.
Awesome.
He was awesome. I was stunned by this because when we had Chris Condon on the show, he'd mentioned it to us about issue 5, and he mentioned how Alex Lind was going to be taken over for art. Love the choice here. Like, it's a nice change in terms of texture from what we're getting from Alessandro Capuccio, who was outstanding. But I do think it was really important for this story because it was so much centered around Sabretooth. And I knew we were getting a different Sabretooth. Like, Chris had told us that. And but I didn't know what to expect. I'll tell you what, certainly did not expect to be rooting for this guy as I was reading this issue. And what's so important with that too, Joe, is we're not just rooting for Sabretooth. I see this Sabretooth and think, oh, this, like, the like main continuity Sabretooth. You take a couple turns in his origin, in his origin and main continuity, I could see him being like this. I could see that happening, where he just, a couple changes, and then, like, oh yeah, he's a guy who we're rooting for in some capacity.
Yeah, it was absolutely excellent. I've said it time and time again. That's why I love, the Ultimate Universe. It's why I'm loving the Absolute Universe over at DC. Right? We're having tremendous writers, just having the ability to just really shine and really take these, well-established characters in different directions, and being able to do so in a way that's not going to, like, get the rabble rousers all up in arms. I am all about Ultimate Sabretooth. The character design, the motivations, the whole thing about this issue was absolutely fantastic. And where it goes, especially towards the end of the issue, was great. And so I can't wait to see where this is going next. And but this was like, yeah, I'm all like, I just absolutely loved every single, like, the moment you see him for the first time, you go, yes. I don't know. It just works. It just clicks. You're all in. You buy it, hook, line, and sinker. Because I don't know if you know this about Sabretooth. He's not a good guy generally.
You don't say.
But like, this was a side of Sabretooth I could really get behind. And I hope we get a lot more of Ultimate Sabretooth in the following issues.
I'll tell you what, the only problem that I think Chris Condon is running into with Ultimate Wolverine is he's introducing too many cool characters. Like, he's crushing it with Wolverine, and and it's great, and, like, obviously you want to see him keep doing that. But I feel like Marvel's got to figure out a way to get him on, writing some of these other characters. I'm sure they have plans and whatnot, but, like, his Gambit was awesome, his Kitty Pryde was awesome. R.I.P. Spoiler alert, his Nightcrawler was awesome. Colossus is outstanding, who is obviously going to in Omega Red and Magic. They're all playing a pivotal role in this Wolverine story. We got Black Widow has entered the mix. And then we have and now we have Sabretooth. And I think we're going to start to see everybody else kind of get meshed in, like now that we're through 5 issues. We kind of get an idea of where issue 6 is probably going to go by the end of this one. But man, Chris Condon has done an outstanding job introducing these characters in this new universe, and they're all friggin' awesome. They're all like, I need more of them, and I'm like, I want to see him. And there's another character who I won't mention that we saw introduced as well, that Colossus is holding prisoner. That's a whole other fucking thing that's going on too. So there's just so much to like about what's going on with Ultimate Wolverine.
Yeah, excellent. All right, Nicholas. I'll say this before you rattle off the books from DC. There's 3 books here in particular that I read, one of which we'll dive into. I got to say, all 3 of these were absolutely outstanding. Outstanding.
Is one of them Two-Face, which we're not talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so Two-Face issue 6 is out this week. That was a series that I slept on, so I'm excited to hear you talk about that on the show. Poison Ivy issue 33 is out this week. I talked about that series a little while back. G. Willow Wilson, who we mentioned in the trade for The Hunger and the Dusk, outstanding stuff. Actually, saw that she's going to be doing a Black Cat series, Joe.
Ooh.
So I'm definitely going to want to be checking that out because I need more G. Willow Wilson in my life. Batgirl issue 7. Birds of Prey, issue 21. Justice Society of America, issue 7. Black Canary, Best of the Best, issue 6. Secret 6, issue 3. Justice League, The Atom Project, issue 5. Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma, issue 2. Wayne Family Adventures, issue 163. And then we got a pair of absolute titles out this week. We want to talk about them both. Do you have a preference which we talk about first?
Yeah, I'm gonna start us off with Absolute Superman. Nicholas, issue 7. So we've now got Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Green Lantern, Absolute Flash, right? Absolute Martian Manhunter. So we've got a really good, healthy dose of Absolute books now, and we've talked almost weekly about one of those titles. They've all been so good. I can say unequivocally, and I feel like this is old hat now because this is almost happening on a new issue by new issue basis. Absolute Superman, issue 7, is hands down my favorite and one of the most brutal issues of any of the Absolute books we've gotten so far. This is a Brainiac heavy issue, and we get the Absolute Universe's Brainiac origin story here, or at least one of the Brainiacs origin stories here. And this was done so well. Jason Aaron is absolutely crushing it here, and we don't get a single frame, a single panel of Superman at all. I mean, it's all Brainiac, and I gotta tell you, like, the wild emotional ride that Jason takes you on with Brainiac, where you feel bad for the poor schlub at one point, and his descent into madness, I just thought was so brilliantly executed. And there's one panel in particular where we see Brainiac disposing of a couple of guards coming his way, and he does so by shrinking their skin. And that was so vicious and so perfect. It made me cringe and say, holy shit, in the same breath. This issue, hands down, I think, to me, is my favorite issue of all the Absolute books that I've read so far. And it will go down as one that I remember, a very pivotal one in this particular series, but I just think a pivotal one in this sort of collection of books in general. It was just, I think, it was so, to me, it was perfectly done. Like, it was a 10 out of a 10 issue.
I think that's a very fair take. This was brilliantly told, and like you said, it's brutal, it's horrifying, and in a way where like there's another book that we're going to talk about from DC that's supposed to be kind of more of a space horror. Very different, very different in how it's horrifying. This is like you said, like you cringe in some of these moments because of how uncomfortable some of the imagery is, and then also it's just so sad. Like
Mm.
Brainiac, I feel bad for Brainiac. Like that doesn't make sense, but I very much do. Like and I love how not only are we getting this twisted version of the Brainiac that we're used to, we now understand why he wouldn't be running the show. Because Brainiac's a guy who you expect most of the time, if not all the time, to be running the show. And now we understand why that's not the case because we got introduced to him previously. So I thought it was an outstanding issue. And if you haven't been reading Absolute Superman, then you could pick this up and be totally fine. Like
Mhm.
and appreciate the Brainiac story, and then go back and read the rest of Absolute Superman. But yeah, this issue was so different from everything else we've got, not just because we don't have Superman in it. It's just the tone was a complete shift, and I love that we had Carmine D. Oh, geez,
I know.
Gia Dimencino.
Gio, I would say Carmine Di Giandomenico. Dominique.
Carmine, we butchered your name and we apologize, but go and check out this issue and then read his name, everybody, and then you'll know who we're talking about. But I love the shift from Rafa Sandoval because Rafa Sandoval has been outstanding, but I would describe his artwork as beautiful. Like, and the way the colors are utilized, beautiful. In this is a story that should make you very much uncomfortable, and Carmine's art plays a big part in all of that. Then we go to Absolute Green Lantern issue 2. This is written by Al Ewing with art by Janoy Lindsay. And again, we said this was like when Scott Snyder was on the show and talked to us about it, he undersold this because he told us this is a horror story, and like that has been proven true. I am stunned by this Dragon Ball Z aesthetic that Abin Sur has. I fucking love that. I think that's such an awesome artistic choice. But where Scott, I think, might have undersold this is he said that the Green Lanterns, instead of them being space cops, they're space outlaws. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know. When I think of space outlaws, it's like, oh yeah, they're kind of like, they're kind of jerks. Maybe they're, questionable at times, but I could see myself rooting for them. I don't know, man. I don't know after reading this issue because there's some questionable stuff going on. And hey, when we read the first issue, if you guys haven't read it already, that would make you question Hal Jordan's role in all of this. And I'm not saying his stuff's not necessarily questionable, but the Green Lanterns are a lot more questionable than I expected them to be, Joe.
Yeah. This one might be the greatest departure, from like the
Mm-hmm.
origins that we've gotten so far. Like, because while absolute Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman, even Flash, right, are very much like different. There's still something fairly familiar there. This one feels like, okay, they're just like, we're starting from scratch, baby, and we're gonna really just like have
Mm-hmm.
fun with this and muck it up a bit. And it's, there's a lot of characters here with a lot of flaws, and I really love Hal Jordan. Um, and yeah, like even Guy Gardner, right? It's a different. It's
Oh,
not.
yeah,
It's not your normal Guy Gardner, right? So like,
certainly not.
there's something very fun, but the artwork in this too, I think is top notch. There's just this really great like sci-fi horror to it. I get that sort of suspense that you kind of get from Aliens a little bit there,
Mm.
especially with the Hal Jordan stuff. So uh absolutely excellent. Like I
There's
said,
something
like
about that art that feels, in the best of ways, unhinged too,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it really
yeah.
adds to the whole tone.
Unhinged is a great way to put everything about this book, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely crushing it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Again, we're loving what's going on with the Ultimate Universe. We're loving what's going on with the Absolute Universe. Whenever Marvel and DC are doing well, usually it's one or the other, but when they're both doing well, it's usually a good thing for the industry on the whole. All right, let's move over to Image and Skybound. We got a lot out from them this week. Not as much of the stuff that we're necessarily reading, although the one title that I'm reading this week did come to an end that I'll talk about on the show soon. But what do you got for me, Joe?
So speaking about books coming to an end, we get the penultimate issue of The Moon is Following Us, issue 9, written by Daniel Warren Johnson. This book, man, again, I'll be talking about it on the show as quickly as humanly possible. The emotional roller coaster this book takes you on. It's just gut punch after gut punch after gut punch, and it's been absolutely excellent. We have The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 112, The Scorched issue 40, um, G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, the Steve Austin issue 316. The book you were just referring to is Grommets issue 7. We have Sam and Twitch Case Files issue 13, Kaya issue 26, Blood Squad 7, Nicholas issue 8. I didn't butcher that one. Adventureman, Family Tree issue 2, Monkey Meat, The Summer Batch issue 3, and then we have 2 issue 1s. We have Free Planet issue 1 written by Aubrey Sitterson with art by Jed Doherty. And then we have Blood and Thunder issue 1, story by Robert Kirkman, written by Benito Serrano with art by E.J. Sue. I feel like this is part of a universe that I'm not familiar with. But like this definitely felt like a companion story. But it was excellent. I read the first issue. It was excellent. Bounty Hunter, Ekeldama, Bledsoe, and her cantankerous talking gun Thunder are the best there is at bringing in the bad guys. So, what's that book that you talked about with the dude and the axe there?
Barbarian.
Barbaric, right? Barbaric, right? So I feel like this is like probably the sci-fi, version of that. This was a great first issue. I absolutely enjoyed it. Just a lot of like kind of crime noirish kind of vibe to it while being a sort of a sci-fi thriller. So absolutely enjoyed Blood and Thunder issue 1.
Nice, nice. From Boom, I'm gonna take us to these next two, Joe. From Boom, we got Hello Darkness issue
My
10,
old friend,
The Creeping Below
to
issue
talk to
3,
you again.
In Bloom issue 4, Jim
Oh,
Henson's Labyrinth issue 7. Joe, you have full cart like In Bloom is yours. I read the first issue and I didn't go back and read the second. So like this, you talk about that on the show. That is yours. Jim Henson's Labyrinth issue 7, Mouse Guard Dawn of the Black Axe issue 2, and then Uncanny Valley issue 7 from friend of the show Tony Fleecewitz with art by Dave Wachter. And that the ending had me like, what the fuck? What's going on?
Did you know this was the penultimate issue?
This is the penultimate, so it's 10 issues.
Yeah, I believe it says to be concluded at the end of the issue. That threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting that, Nicholas.
Because we thought it was 12, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back and double check, but I'm pretty sure it said to be concluded.
Okay, I mean, I can see how that would work in the course of the story, but it was still like that. Still was I didn't realize that. But anyways, I'm very excited with the way things ended, whether or not it's to be concluded or to be continued. From Dark Horse, we got let's see here, Star Wars Hyperspace Stories: The Bad Batch, Ghost Agents issue 3, Ripperland issue 4, Borderlands Moxie's Mysterious Memento issue 4, Assassin's Creed Mirage, A Soar of Eagles issue 2, Assassin's Creed Volume 3 issue 5, Our Brilliant Ruin, Horror at Crane Mansion issue 2, the third issue of Jump Scare, which is by Cullen Bunn and Danny Lucker. And we're not talking about it this time. We talked about it in the first 2 issues, but that does not mean we didn't absolutely love the third issue. This is a series that would absolutely be TLDR worthy, the way things are going through these first 3 issues. And I believe when Cullen told us about it, because I think that was off air. Maybe no, I think he told us on air. It was like just getting announced or something to that degree. But it was like supposed to be a mini series. I really hope that Jump Scare is going to go on for longer because this character has a ton of potential. I know you have a book that you want to talk about, but just to mention these first issue, these number ones, we got Lost Monstrous issue 1 by James Robinson and Jesus Marino, and then Lady Baltimore, The Daughters of Medusa issue 1. Of course, Mike Mignola's universe with art by Christopher Golden. And then you have a third issue, but were you able to confirm that note about Uncanny Valley?
Yeah, to be concluded.
Jeez, I just totally glossed over that, I guess. Dang.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What about this this one thing that you want to talk about from Dark Horse? What do you got for me?
Let This One Be a Devil, issue 3, written by James Tynan and Steve Fox with art by Peter Kowalski. Talked about this the first issue when it dropped, and I think I did the second issue as a gem or on my stack. I can't remember, but anyways, this series has been absolutely tremendous. This is sort of to me a quintessential horror story where there doesn't need to be a lot of action, there doesn't need to be a lot of gore, but the suspense is ever present, right? It is there's this fog, right, that hovers over sort of every panel and every page that you read, where you're expecting, right, and you don't get it, but you're not disappointed, and just sort of this buildup that especially in this particular issue, that takes place, and you learn a little bit more about the family, that the main characters, and especially the older and the younger brother, and it's a little heartbreaking, because the younger brother and the older brother at odds. The older brothers went off to go to school and become a learned man, and the younger brother was sort of left behind to take the brunt of his father's abuse. So the younger brother always plays. It's just there's just a brutal family dynamic there, but at the same time, there's a lot of love and a lot of despite there being a lot of animosity, and the way this particular issue ends, where the younger brother, very headstrong, is ignoring the warnings of his older brother, and just the way that it ends and what it's going to setting up for the next issue the suspense is it's really palpable. And these are sort of I don't want to say based on true events, but it is based on sort of historical events, that happen, whether the lead's devil is real or not. um
Hmm.
there is history there. So like this has just been a great series. It's been a great horror series, and not necessarily, I mean, there are some vicious panels that you see, but like, this is not, at least as of yet, one of those. Like Red Fork, right?
Ooh.
Or some of these other, it's sort of got that suspenseful vibe that Red Fork has, but like I said, it doesn't always have that visceral imagery, at a breakneck pace. But that doesn't diminish just how suspenseful this book really is.
Okay, so if you're telling me this is factually based on a factual real story, is what I got out of all of this. I just want you to know that's my takeaway.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you said, the New Jersey Devil, right? The
Mhm.
Leeds Devil, right? Like there's
100%
his
real, no fiction whatsoever.
right, right, right. But there's history. Like
Yeah,
this
no, I
was a
get.
part of our history. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
people thought
Mhm.
it was real.
Yeah. No, but this sounds this is I'm very excited to check this one out. Wait after you talk about it on the show, because obviously you have dibs on this tiny book after I stole the Deviant from you. All right, moving over to Mad Cave. What do you got, Joe?
We have Pop Kill issue 3, which might be the most fun I'm having reading a comic book ever.
Ooh, okay. This was, you've talked about like the vibe of this, where it just feels like a popcorn movie kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Like that,
yeah, yeah.
pardon the the pop reference, but whatever. Like this issue more than any other felt like that for me. The stuff that they did with the heads of the brothers
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
whole, I didn't put that together like
I
that
didn't
element. Yeah.
either. It's just fun. It's one of the most fun. I read this and with a big shit-eating grin on my face. I absolutely love it. We have Gotchaman, issue 9. Far down, far down below, issue 2. So pre-show, not to tell you how the sausage was made. I had
Huh.
had I had a book written for Image. I'm like, oh, I got this book confused. You know what I was thinking of? It was far down below, issue 2.
Oh.
Yes, meant to underline it.
That's
Uh,
happened twice with you now with Far Down Below. Far, far down below, buried
yeah,
long,
yeah,
long ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This issue was excellent. Excellent, 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 excellent. I just love everything about this book. I love the vibe. I love the storytelling. I love the characters. Everything about it is absolutely excellent. So if you haven't read Far Down Below issue 1, grab it, read issue 2. Tremendous. We have Defenders of Earth issue 7, Galaxy of Madness issue 9, And then Nicholas, we have a number one, and it's an anthology series, and it's Vanishing Point, issue one, written by Mark Russell, with the art on this issue from Juan Doe. Now, each issue, Mark Russell will be the writer, but he'll have a different artist, sort of like what
Oh,
Michael Walsh did with.
Silver Coin.
Well, opposite of what Michael Walsh did with the Silver Coin. He was the artist in all the books, but had a different writer for each one. This one we got the same writer, different artist. And this first issue was a sci-fi story, and it's, again, you want to talk about palpable suspense. Wasn't a lot of action, right? But it's the vibe that you sort of get from Crushed Depth. There's this claustrophobic feeling to it, right? This feeling of this overwhelming feeling of madness that is taking place. It's pretty much all narration, but it is so well executed. Wando's art is so perfect for this story. This was a great little, like, this is being hailed. It's an anthology, but these are each, like, they read like little mini short stories, which is what a good anthology series should. But like, this felt very complete. This felt like it was longer than it really was, and I don't mean that like it dragged on. I just
Right.
felt like I was reading, a bigger story, right? And it was just all within the confines. So much was told within the confines of just a regular single issue. Um, I loved it. I loved every single panel. It's great beginning, great ending.
Yeah. It was an outstanding ending. It was an outstanding issue. It was heavy as hell, man.
Mm.
Like we talk about it all the time. Like when it comes to social commentary, Mark Russell is one of, if not the best in the business right now. Like he knows how to talk about things without like being like being direct, but not being too direct. Like he just knows how to find that balance so well. And the big question, like, well, there's a lot of questions coming out of this, but the one that I wanted to ask you, I know the answer for myself, but like in this story, there is a future where people could spend 10 years away from their family, away from everybody, and they work for 10 years and then they never have to work again. Like, I don't know about you, but like, again, you have to be away from your family. Like you cannot be like, you're like, distance is the issue. I can understand why some people would need to do it. I can understand why some people might want to do it. I cannot fathom having to do something like that. That sounds awful, miserable, and forget about what transpires on the job.
Yeah. No, there's zero chance, zero chance.
And you know what? I just realized when I said what transpired on the job, like this story is so fucked up because when like you knew like like it's fucked up because on the surface you'll read it and then it's like geez, but then if you take a second to think about it, which I didn't till right now, it's like, oh wait, I just remembered a line that was said in the issue, and then like it just amplified like how messed up this issue is.
Uh,
So
Remind me of that line when we go off air. We
I
don't.
will. I will
People don't need to know
absolutely
how the
remind you.
sausage is made.
100%.
Okay,
Oh
perfect.
God.
They don't need to know how it's made. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We got it. I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. All right. From Oni, we got Adventure Time issue 2 and Plague House issue 2.
Have you read this yet?
I have not read Plague House. You found the first issue, right?
I did.
I mean, if you want it.
No, I've got a long list of books, Nicholas,
Okay.
and I wouldn't do you dirty like that.
Okay.
This book is excellent.
All right. Duly noted.
Excellent. It's I don't know if you know anything about it. It is a team of ghost hunters that they go to houses, and obviously, and they kind of do like a ghost hunters type show. You've got your classic triumvirate of the leader, and then you've got the religious expert, and then you've got the skeptical techie. And in the first issue, the house they're investigating um, is a house where the husband uh, brutally murders his family, and the artwork and just the sequence in which you get the paneling is like absolutely horrific.
Okay.
And then this issue sort of obviously picks up. It is so good, Nicholas. If you can't get the first issue, I'll give you my copy. You definitely have the second one there. This is
Mhm.
a can't miss horror story.
Okay.
folks.
All right. Shit. All right. I definitely got to get moving on that then. I'm going to move us on these next few real quick because we have one more book before we get into week 2. All right. From AWA, we got Lookout issue 1. This is a one shot from Danny Baye and Tim Bradford. We talked about this. We got an early look at this. This is like a graphic novella. Definitely. And it's an interesting read. Gave me chills the entire time. Something you absolutely want to check out. And again, it's in a slightly different format, more prose with imagery featured throughout the course of the story. From IDW, we got Sonic the Hedgehog issue 78, Godzilla Heist issue 3, TMNT Best of Old Hob, and then from Dynamite, we got Silverhawks issue 3, Thundercats Lost issue 2, The Herculoids issue 3, Zootopia issue 3, Space Ghost Johnny Quest issue 1, which is by Joe Casey and Sebastian Perez. And then, Joe, this does not happen often. We are doing a review of a Dynamite issue because we were given a review copy by the writer, David Pepos. The artist on the series is Iman Castles. How would you say his last name? Eamon's last name. Castles?
Cassos?
Sorry. So sorry.
Silent L's?
Again, please feel free to correct us.
I don't know how the English language works.
Yeah, by all means. All right. But without further ado, Joe, it's Captain Planet issue 1, possibly our most highly anticipated start of a series of the year for us. We have been dying to get this. We thought we were getting it in April. We get it to kick off May. What did you think of the return of Captain Planet, who we haven't seen since the show ended? I mean, when we were both kids.
I mean, I was trying to remember and recall the vibe of the cartoon at the time, right? And of course, we can all sing the first few lyrics of the song, in our heads. But I'm trying to remember the vibe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was definitely a lot more upbeat. Just sort of your classic '90s,
Inspirational kind of and whatnot.
exactly. And not that this issue wasn't, but this issue, the tone was a little darker, right? The tone was a little bit more adult, and it was excellent, Nicholas.
Yeah, it really was. It's that kind of it's darker in the sense of it feels darker from the actual show, but it's not so dark that it's not inaccessible for not the youngest reader, but like a younger reader who likes comics, who reads Marvel, who reads DC. It's still accessible for them. To me, it was a perfect like reintroduction for us who haven't seen the character in years, an introduction for people who are new to the character because you have to get to know Captain Planet a little bit, and then there's the Planeteers. And quite honestly, Joe, as excited I've been about Captain Planet because he was absolutely my favorite part of the show, and I'm sure that I'm not at all in the minority when it comes to that. I am way more excited than I expected to be when it comes to the Planeteers because they're also a lot older and we have a really good understanding of who they are now as people. At least we have a good enough understanding, I should say, especially when it comes to their motivations. I was not expecting it. That was the big surprise for me in this issue. But the other thing too, that before we get into week 2 of this list, I need to ask you this. Which ring of the Captain Planet rings, of the Planeteer rings, do you think would choose you?
Well, it wouldn't be hard because I hate you. No. Ironically enough, I'm a Pisces. I hate water. I'm like a cat. I hate being wet. I think I would either be fire or earth, probably earth. A movable object like a boulder, low center of gravity. I think I would be earth.
I think I think that makes sense. Earth makes a lot of sense. For me, it would actually probably be water. I never used to be in with Avatar: The Last Airbender. I never cared as much about the water tribe as a kid, but as I've gotten older, I've gotten a better understanding and learned how adaptability and certain other components are important to that. And then the way it was highlighted in this issue, it just felt like it resonated a little bit more with me. So water, earth. And then we just need to figure out the rest of the DSG, where they would all fall in. Max probably Heart, of course. And then we'll
loves his rom-coms.
Yeah.
Well, Wes, formerly of the DSG, right? He'd probably be what's the green one, right?
Was that not Earth?
Oh, I guess that'd be Earth, right?
Yeah.
He likes he likes the Earth.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yep. Oh man, he's gonna love that. All right, moving on. Yeah,
Oh,
that's not a secret.
oh,
Um. Anyways, all right, let's move over to week 2. Let's get started on that because we are way the fuck behind on this
oh,
Solicit show.
yeah.
Uh, having too much
Well,
fun.
it's because we're serious, Nicholas, right? We're giving all these books their just due.
Oh yes, of
Uh,
course, exactly.
so I love it that new comic book this week is on the 7th because then the math is easy. Week 2 is 5/14/2025, right? Nice and
Mm-hmm.
easy.
Look at that.
From Marvel, we have Ultimate X-Men issue 15, Uncanny X-Men issue 14, Ultimate Black Panther issue 16, One World Under Doom issue 4, Miles Morales Spider-Man issue 33, the Zdeno Chara issue, Wolverine issue 9, the Ted Williams issue, Daredevil issue 21, the Clemens issue, right? Was he 21?
Yeah,
Yeah, he was 21. Yeah. It's been so long, Nicholas.
on
It's
one of his
been
teams he was.
so long.
I think on the Red Sox.
Uh,
He was, yeah.
yeah. The Immortal Thor, the Michael Jordan issue. The Phoenix issue 11, the Peyton Pritchard issue.
Oh wow. Okay.
The Spectacular Spider-Man issue 15, the Kevin Millar issue. X Factor issue 10, the Pavel Bure issue. Wolverine issue 6. Was that Pesky? Was
How
Pesky
about
6?
Bill Russell?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, it was good.
Kind of a big deal. I don't know.
Kind of. Red Hulk, the Bobby Orr issue. Doctor Strange of Asgard, the Pokey Reese issue. Thunderbolts Doomstrike issue 4, the Bobby Orr issue. And Star Wars Jedi Knights issue 3. Okay, I'll give in the Babe Ruth issue. And then we have a couple of number ones, right? Because we are a sports podcast, mind you. Godzilla versus X-Men issue 1, written by Fabian Nikizia, with Niceza, thank you, with art by Emilio Lasso. And then we have Gwenpool issue 1, written by Kevin Scott, with art by Stefano Nessi.
And then we also have Spider-Verse versus Venomverse issue 1 by Kyle
Oh,
Higgins.
Jesus.
Yeah, I thought you did that on purpose.
No. Why would I leave that one out on purpose, Nicholas? I don't want you to have the
I
fun.
think saving it for the end is what I thought you're doing. Spider-Verse versus Venomverse issue 1 by Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom with art by Luciano Vecchio. And this is going to be a big year for Kyle and Matt Groom because they got some stuff over at DC that's cooking as well that we saw announced. So a Batman title that they're going to be doing. So yeah, some awesome stuff. And I also want to let everybody know, if you go to the description of the episode, you're going to have a key to all of the athletes that Joe alluded to in the issue. So that way you know exactly which issue is coming out, because if you I'll be stunned if there's anybody who can get them all. Anyways,
No, are you telling me there's not a lot of Pokey Reese fans out there?
I think, yeah, yes, because we're especially our people who are over in Germany that are big listeners. Like, they definitely know who Pokey Reese is. Anyways, from DC, we got Absolute Batman issue 8, Action Comics issue 1086, Batman and Robin issue 21, Batman Dark Patterns issue 6, Aquaman issue 5, Green Lantern Corps issue 4, DC versus Vampires World War V issue 9, Batman 89 Echoes issue 6, Fire and Ice When Hell Freezes Over issue 2, Wayne Family Adventures issue 164, and then the first issue of Supergirl, which is written and drawn by Sophie Campbell. And obviously, Supergirl's got some big stuff coming down the line as well. So no surprise, DC investing a little bit more in her right now.
All right. From Image and Skybound, we have Transformers issue 20, Spawn issue 354, Geiger issue 14, World Tree issue 14, King Spawn issue 45, Ice Cream Man issue 44, Phantom Road issue 12, Ultra Mega issue 9, Witchblade issue 11. I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer issue 2.
Hell
Let's
yeah.
go. Savage Dragon issue 277, Black Ritual, The School of Nyx issue 2, Dead Eyes, The Empty Frames issue 4, Golden Rage, Mother Knows Best, issue 2. And then we've got a slew of number ones here. We have Invincible Universe, Battle Beast, issue 1. This is
Yeah.
written by Kirkman with art by Ryan Otley. Baby, let's
Hell yeah.
go. We have Exquisite Corpses, issue 1, written by James Tynan with art by Michael Walsh. Again, I think this
So
is an anthology series.
I'm not sure that that's the case. This is like more because I think this is more like an event kind of series based. Like they're treating it like a big two event, and but like with creating all these like killer characters and everything like that. Do you want to hit the people with the synopsis on this one?
Yeah, every 5 years on Halloween, the wealthiest families in America. Would you like to play a game? 12 of the deadliest people in the world are dropped into a small town with just one goal: last killer standing wins. For the citizens of Oak Valley, Maine, this year's Unlucky Arena, the goal is much simpler. They must survive the night.
Yep. In all friggin' day. We neither of us is taking dibs on this. I think we both had a gentleman's agreement, but yes, I'm 98% certain on this one, Joe, that it's not an anthology series. It's all tying into this one single game. There'll be a focus on killers more so than others, but it's definitely like a larger event sort of
Yeah,
deal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. When you're right, you're right.
Sometimes it happens. All right, we got a couple of the first issues if you want to hit the people with it.
Yes, we have The Cold Witch, A Tale of the Shrouded College, issue 1, written by Charles Soule, with art by Will Sliney. The Shrouded College is this is sort of the next arc of that series. And then we have Energon Universe 2025 special, written by Joshua Williamson with art by Andrea Milana. So a new special printing of the Energon Universe Free Comic Book Day 2025 special. So this is just sort of like, again, giving you the first issues of a couple of the books,
Nice.
or giving you some issues of like GI Joe, Transformers, Void Rivals, to kind of give people either a reintroduction or their first introduction into what the Energon universe is. And if you've watched and or listened to this program, you know that the Energon universe is absolutely must read stuff.
Absolutely. Moving over to boom, we got I Heart Skull Crusher issue 9 and When I Lay My Vengeance Upon Thee issue 4. Feels like it's been a minute since we got an issue from that
Small minute.
series. Very
Small
much
minute.
excited though. Anytime we're getting when we talk about like a limited series, best new series, when I lay my vengeance upon thee, and I was a fashion school serial killer. Obviously, that we only got one issue of I was a fashion school serial killer, but an outstanding first issue. Those two, man, are probably going to be duking it out by the end of the year.
Floppies are going to be difficult this year.
Yes, yes. And we can't create too many more categories because then at some point we're being soft. Not everybody can be a winner,
then,
but
then
we
we're
are
like
all
the
winners.
NBA. Then we'll be like the NBA Hall of Fame and just picking everybody gets in.
Oh,
Right.
geez. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right.
Uh,
Hit us with Dark Horse.
all right, from Dark Horse, we have Usagi Yojimbo, 10,000 Plums, issue 3. Sister Imperator, issue 3. Behemoth, issue 4. And then we have Huck, Big Bad World, issue 1, written by Mark Miller with art by Raphael Albuquerque. After being exposed to a super powered person and hunting down the doctor who gave him and his mother their powers, it would seem like Huck could finally get back to the simple life he'd come to love.
Oh boy.
Holy cow, I had to sneeze. Making folks in his small town feel safe and cared for by doing one good deed a day and being the real change anyone would want to see in the world. I don't know. Mark Miller, Raphael Albuquerque, I'm in, baby.
Yeah, 100%. I will say that was all one sentence. That was a lot.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Not the
yeah.
longest synopsis ever, but that was quite the sentence. All right, moving on from Mad Cave, we got, and I'm going to take us through the rest of these for the week, Joe. Dick Tracy issue 10, Flash Gordon issue 9,
Ah,
Pastime issue 2, Gotcha Man, Only One Earth issue 4. From Oni, we got Mine is a Lonesome Grave issue 4, Dark Regards issue 1, but this is by Dave Hill and Artyom Topolin. The shockingly true, terrifyingly hilarious, and only modestly exaggerated tale of how one stand-up comedian forged a secret online identity as America's first true black metal icon and accidentally started an international incident that almost wiped Gary, Indiana off the map. Well, that sounds fucking interesting.
And if Artyom Toplin sounds familiar, he was the artist on I Hate This Place.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Nice.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, that sounds like okay. Knowing that and then hearing that like what this story sounds like, it all fits and everything. Okay. All right. Very interesting. And then we also got Adventure Time Deluxe Edition issue 1 by Nick Wynn. From IDW, we got TMNT Mutant Nation issue 6, Star Trek Lower Decks issue 7, and Godzilla Here There Be Aliens issue 1 by Frank Thierry and Angel Hernandez. Not the umpire, as far as we know. If so, that's going to be a problem. I'm going to tell you right now. That's going to be a problem.
Huge problem.
Yep.
At least it's not Big Country Joe West.
That would be fun. Could you imagine Joe West being
He's a country singer or some shit.
Is he actually? Oh,
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, who am I to say that you have only one lane? It just feels that would feel very bizarre. Anyways, from Vault, we got Lilith issue 4 and Money Shot, excuse me, Big Bang issue 1, Tim Seeley, Patton Oswalt, and Garth Graham. Which brings us, Joe, to week 3 of the Solicit.
And if you're as good with your multiplication table and the number 7 as I am, that brings us to the 21st. 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 7 is 21.
Math.
Nice and simple, baby. From Marvel, we have The Ultimates issue 12, Fantastic Four issue 32, The Amazing Spider-Man issue 4, The Incredible Hulk issue 25, Exceptional X-Men issue 9, Moon Fist, The Fist of Khonshu issue 8, Iron Man issue 8,
Hey,
Daredevil.
Moon Fist.
Did I say Moon Fist? Moon Knight. Fist of Khonshu issue 8.
Oh, that just made my day.
I'm gonna write a Moon Fist comic. It's going to be dirty.
Oh God.
The Devil, Unleash Hell, Red Band, issue 5, Doom Academy, issue 4, Thunderbolts, Doom Strike, issue 5, Weapon X-Men, issue 4, Star Wars, Legacy of Vader, issue 4, Superior Avengers, issue 2, Star Wars, The High Republic, Fear of the Jedi, issue 4. And then we have a slew of number ones. I'll rip through a few of these real quick. We have Spider-Man and Wolverine, issue 1, written by Mark Guggenheim with art by Kari Andrews. We have The Vision and the Scarlet Witch, issue 1, written by Massachusetts' own Steve Orlando with art by Lorenzo Temeta. We have Hulk and Doctor Strange, issue 1, written by J. Michael Straczynski with art by Hermaine Peralta. And then there was a number 1 that you had highlighted, Nicholas. What number 1 would that be?
The Thing, issue 1 by our guy Tony Fleece with art by Justin Mason. The Thing clobbers the Marvel Universe. Ben Grimm may be the strongest member of the Fantastic Four, but once upon a time, he was just a scrawny kid from Yancey Street. When an unexpected visitor from his past sends him on a search for a missing child, the Thing must unravel the mystery, even if that means becoming a wanted man. Now, for me, I've said it before, I'm not the biggest Fantastic Four fan, but if I absolutely have a favorite from the Fantastic Four, and it is the Thing. And combine that with the fact that Tony Fleece is writing this series, very excited to check this one out.
You know, Johnny Storm guy?
I like Johnny Storm.
Flame on! I'm gone! I'm so sweet like a nice bonbon! Beastie Boys.
Okay.
Fantastic Four. Let's go.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got a Beastie Boys reference too. Wow.
Yeah,
Look at this.
We're flying today, baby.
Beastie Boys and Pokey Reese in the same podcast. You can't find that on any other comic book podcast.
Pikachu might have been Irished up tonight. That's all I gotta say about that.
There we go. All right, from DC on the week of the 21st, we have Detective Comics issue 1097, Nightwing issue 126, Absolute Flash issue 3, Batman Superman World's Finest issue 39, Wonder Woman issue 21, Titans issue 23, Batman and Robin year 1 issue 7, The New Gods issue 6, Zatanna issue 4, Catwoman issue 76, DC Sonic the Hedgehog issue 3, Batman Wayne Family Adventures issue 165, and then we got the start of a new Superman series in the summer of Superman. A lot going on with him, of course, on the big screen. We got Superman Unlimited issue 1 by Dan Slott and Raphael Albuquerque. I don't know how Raphael Albuquerque's doing 2 books, but he's not. I mean, Hayden Sherman's been doing that, and then obviously Dan Mora is like the biggest one who does all that. But that's just illustrating 2 books is that's pretty damn impressive.
I'm pretty sure Dan Moore is not human. But
That's fair.
right. From Image and Skybound, we have Redcoat issue 12, Bug Wars issue 4, The Walking Dead Deluxe issue 113, Rogue Sun issue 27, Medieval Spawn issue 2, Deadly Tales of the Gunslinger Spawn issue 6, Null Hunter issue 8, Young Blood Deluxe issue 2, Moonshine Bigfoot issue 2. And then we have a couple of number ones. We have Sleep number 1, written and drawn by Xander Cannon. And then we have The Curse of Shirley Johnson, issue 1, written by Daniel Henrique, with art by Jonathan Glapian.
Yeah, and this is part of the Spawn universe. This is actually the story of the child. Billy Kincaid is one of the first big villains that you meet in Spawn's story, and Shirley Johnson was the last victim of Billy Kincaid before Billy Kincaid got offed by Spawn. So we're getting the focus on her. And Joe, you may or may not remember this, but like when Jonathan Glapian was at Boston Fan Expo a few years back, and I had seen illustrations of this character, and I think I posted it on our social media, like, this is the kind of character that would give you nightmares, because she's got this terrifying look, and she's a kid and everything like that. So definitely some nightmare fuel potential there. Moving over to Boom, we got Jim Henson Presents issue 4, and then the return of The Killer Affairs of the State, volume 2, issue 1, written by Matz with art by Luke Giacomin.
So I read Affairs of the State issue 1. I think you did too, right?
I was gonna, and I just haven't made a point to go and do that yet.
So I really liked it. It was just it was really well done, and I wasn't aware at the time that the killer was a really big sort of international property.
Mm-hmm.
And Netflix made the Killer movie, which is based on some of the earlier comics, not necessarily the Affairs of the State
Okay. Makes sense.
issue, right? Because there's actually many volumes of the Killer, which I want to go back and read. I think the series is great, and it's definitely got sort of like that international comic sort of vibe, just the way that it's structured and written and drawn and all that. So I'm looking forward to this. I loved Affairs of the State, and I love the movie. The movie was excellent, and so I definitely want to go back and read some of the older volumes as well.
I still haven't made a point to watch that movie. I remember when it came out, and I was like,
Oh, it's good.
I want to check this thing out. Just have not gotten around to it for some strange
Do
reason.
it this weekend. Do it this weekend. It's good.
Yeah, it's not a bad call. All right, from Dark Horse, we got Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures issue 18, Vatican City issue 2, Cyberpunk 2077 Psycho Squad issue 4, Into the Unbeing Part 2 issue 4, From the World of Minor Threats, Welcome to Twilight issue 3, The Great British Bump Off, Kill or Be Quilt issue 2, You Never Heard of Me issue 4, Who Are the Power Pals issue 3, and then we got Robo Wolf issue 1. This is written and drawn by Jake Smith. And then we also have Ghostbusters Dead Man's Chest issue 1, which is, I messed up.
Did you write writer?
I definitely copy and paste that. But I think David M. Boer is the writer on that series, but I don't have the artist in front of me, but I will have that in 2 seconds. So the writer on that series is David M. Boer, and the artist is Aviv Orr.
I'm definitely going to give this a go. I love Ghostbusters, and been trying to get my daughter. We started to watch the first of the newer movies, a little while ago. So she cracks me up. She's into spooky stuff,
Nice.
and I definitely wasn't at that age. So yeah, all in on Ghostbusters stuff.
Kids.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Scored another 4 goals this past week in lacrosse.
Nice.
Kid's a stud. Mad Cave. We have Dark Empty Void issue 5. I begged and pleaded with Zach Kaplan for an advanced copy of this. I haven't got it yet. Zach, if you're watching and listening, please don't make me wait till the 21st. Please. And then we have Spectrum issue 6, Blade Forger issue 3, and then we have Whatever Happened to the Crimson Justice issue 1, written by Frank Thierry, with art by Inaki Miranda.
Moving over to Oni, we got Epitaphs from the Abyss, issue 11, and Out of Alcatraz, issue 3, which Joe is reading that series. From IDW, I'm going to go through the rest of these, Joe. IDW, we got Star Trek Defiant, issue 27, and Mothra, Queen of the Monsters, issue 3. From Titan, we got RuneScape, Untold Tales of the God Wars, issue 3. And then we got the first issue of Conan the Barbarian, Eastern Horizons, written by Walter Simonson with art by Jerry Ma. And then from Dynamite, we got Thundercats issue 16, the Terminator issue 8, Vampirella issue 2, Darkwing Duck issue 4, and Red Sonja Attacks Mars issue 3.
So the only thing I'll say is that League of Comic Geeks and Dynamite haven't been in sync. I
Mm.
think we still haven't gotten Terminator issue 7 yet. So
Ah,
right, some of these take with a grain of salt. So Terminator 7, 8 will probably be Terminator 7. We'll probably be getting that
mhm.
at some point this month.
Makes
So
sense.
just a heads up there. So it's always a good idea to just kind of always
Yeah.
try and Twitter's been a good place, Blue Sky, an even better place to stay on top of these things. Because they'll sort of get announced week of or stuff like that. But just for
Yeah.
some reason, League of Comic Geeks and Dynamite have just not been on the same page.
That's unfortunate. But good catch. All right, let's move over to the final week of May, Joe. What do we got for the week of the 28th?
21 plus 7 is 28. Let's go. From
Proud of you.
Marvel, we have, thank you, Ultimate Spider-Man issue 17, Uncanny X-Men issue 15, The Avengers issue 26, Magic issue 5, Daredevil, A Cold Day in Hell issue 2, Deadpool and Wolverine issue 5, a book that I am very much looking forward to, Nicholas, Predator versus Spider-Man issue 2,
Hmm.
Eddie Brock Carnage issue 4, Spider-Boy issue 19, Rogue the Savage Land issue 5, Werewolf by Night issue 10, Doom's Division issue 3, Cable Love and Chrome issue 5, Wolverine and Kitty Pryde issue 2, New Champions issue 5, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker adaptation issue 4, and The Infinity Watch issue 5. And then a light week for number ones from Marvel. We have Giant Size X-Men issue 1, written by Jackson Lansing and Colin Kelly, with art by Adam Kubert. We have Venom Original Sin issue 1, written by Steve Orlando, with art by Matt Horick. And then we have Marvel and Disney What If Donald Duck Became Iron Man issue 1, written by Steve Belling and Luca Barberi, with art by Donald. So Freddy,
Yeah, that one's a tough one there.
I
One
think I
thing
nailed
with
it.
the X-Men series that Kubert is, I don't know if Kubert's illustrating all of those issues, but I do know that that's the first of 5 giant-sized one-shots. So just wanted to make a note of that one there. Moving over to DC, we got Batman issue 160, Absolute Wonder Woman issue 8, Absolute Martian Manhunter issue 3, Superman issue 26, Justice League Unlimited issue 7, Green Arrow issue 24, Green Lantern issue 23, The Flash issue 21, Harley Quinn issue 51, Metamorpho the Element Man issue 6, Peacemaker presents The Vigilante Eagly double feature issue 3, Batman Wayne Family Adventures issue 166, Batman Giant Size Special Edition issue 160, and then we got one first issue. This is written by Al Leston with art by Valentin De Landro, and that is Mr. Terrific Year One, Issue One. And of course, this is a character again who we're going to be seeing on the big screen soon. So if you're interested in learning more about Mr. Terrific, this is going to be something to check out.
All right, we have a week from Image and Skybound, the last week of May for New Comic Book Day. We have Void Rivals issue 19, G.I. Joe issue 7, The Department of Truth issue 30, Gunslinger Spawn issue 43, The Power Fantasy issue 9, Hyde Street issue 6, Assorted Crisis Events issue 3, Unlucky issue 13 for Feral, And I can only imagine the carnage we're going to get in that issue.
Yeah.
Falling in Love on the Path to Hell, issue 8. We're Taking Everyone Down with Us, issue 3. Universal Monsters, The Mummy, issue 3. Rat City, issue 14. Moon Man, issue 10. Hornsby and Halo, issue 7. You'll Do Bad Things, issue 3. Bitter Root, The Next Movement, issue 3. And then we have two number ones. We have Mommy Blog, issue 1, written by Marguerite Bennett, with art by Eleonora Carlini, to which, Nicholas, you have called dibs. You
Yes.
want to break some news to us?
Yes, I called dibs on this because Marguerite Bennett is a name that I
We
recognize. And also,
expecting?
no.
Oh,
And Eleonora Carlini was the artist on the series with Ryan Parrott that we just raved about over at Boom Studios, and I'm blanking on the name of that series.
Jesus. Yeah.
But why don't you look that up real quick while I am going through the synopsis on Mommy Blog, issue 1. In this scathing, brutal, outrageous black comedy, Astrid is an aspiring social media, quote, super mommy, close quote, keeping tabs on her glamorous gated community after the disappearances of several neighborhood children. By the way, it's vicarious. That's what it was. It came to me as I was reading that. Certain a predator is afoot, she turns all of her cunning, creativity, sugar, and spice to catching the killer. And if her rivals of the, quote, mommy of the year, close quote, get caught in the path of the chainsaw, well, you have to break a few eggs to make a cruelty-free omelet, don't you? So yeah, I am all in on this series. I think I saw I could have sworn I saw a comp somewhere that interested me as well. But like when I saw this, I was like, what? And I saw some of the art for it. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? This is gonna be an unhinged series. So yeah, I didn't call I put this up, and when I did my notes, I gave you I put it up like, I don't know, midday, at some point on Monday or Sunday, and then I waited until like maybe Monday night or Tuesday morning, something like that. I gave you like a reasonable chance to possibly have looked at it. And obviously the series has been announced. It's out there. Like it hasn't been announced. This isn't last minute. But I was like, I got to take dibs. Like I can't let Joe steal this book from me, because this just sounds like something I'm really going to enjoy.
Well, folks, you heard it here. Nick finally grew a set. So
don't poke the
bravo,
bear.
Nick.
Don't poke the bear, because then I'm going to turn into a snake in your book.
Well,
Doesn't take long.
already there.
Snake. Real snake.
We also have another number one, which I didn't highlight this, so you must have done this for me.
I did.
So from Image, we have Dark Honor issue 1, written by friend of the show, Ethan Sachs, K.S. Bruce, and Brian D. Cubelis, with art by Fico Ossio. For nearly a century, 100. Sorry, strike that, reverses. For nearly a century, the 100 has been the strong arm in New York's underworld. But now, as COVID-19 ravages the city in early 2020, a different kind of plague has arrived. The criminal mastermind mounting his takeover, unless Rain, daughter of the 100's leader Joseph, can unite the last elements of the fading crime gangs in one desperate attempt to fight back. Yeah.
Yeah. I figured Ethan Sachs, Fico Ossio, and then like one of the key characters is basically named after you, probably inspired by you. I figured
probably
be interested.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to like read it, pick up a comic book one of these days. Go, that fat ass is me. Look at that. Or like the story I keep telling about my days and working in the gross anatomy lab, like seeing that pop up. That'll make my day.
Someone's gonna do that. From Boom, we got Minor Arcana issue 7, The Last Boy issue 3, The Armory Wars, Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star I'm Burning Star 4 volume 2 issue 11. That is just egregious. The Bronze Faces issue 3.
I'll take us through these next few, and then you can take us home there, Nicholas. From Dark Horse, we have Black Hammer Spiral City, not Spiral Ham, Spiral City, issue 6. Stranger Things and Dungeons and Dragons, The Rise of Hellfire, issue 3. Critical Role Vox Machina Origins, issue 6. And Barstow, issue 4. From Mad Cave, nothing that week apparently. From Oni, we have Rick and Morty, Ricklemania issue 4, and we have The Goddamn Tragedy issue 1. Okay, let's go. Chris Condon with art by Sean Crunerio.
Yeah,
Crunerio?
we do have the one shot for that one actually. Yeah.
And you didn't want to share it? Or did you?
You get that email. You also get that email. And it's definitely
Do I have that email?
Yes, you get those. You get those. I think those are the only emails that you also get.
Oh, well, I'll have to check.
Yeah. Okay. This is news to me that you didn't know this. Okay. We'll go over this after the show.
Yeah, we'll hammer this out after the fact.
My mistake on the on Mad Cave. This is my portion of the notes. But I got it right in front of me. So Defenders of Earth issue 7, Kill Train issue 5. Another again talking about book of the year. That's also right in the conversation for limited series, best new series. Dark Pyramid issue 3, and then we got Crush Depth issue 3, and then the first issue of The Pale Knight, which is written by Peter Milligan with art by Val Rodriguez. This is something I'm definitely interested in checking out. England, 1349. Sir Hugh de Grey, the Pale Knight, returns from war to find a land ravaged by the Black Death and his son dying of the plague. When he prays to God to save his son's life, it is not God who answers, but death himself. And death is willing to cut a deal. So yeah, I'm definitely in on that. But yeah, Goddamn Tragedy, you definitely have that, Joe. We'll sort that out. I'll take us through these last few here. IDW, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Saturday Morning Adventures issue 25, then a couple first issues and special issues. Star Trek Lore War, Shax's Worst Day issue 1, written by Ryan North with art by Derek Charm. Monsters High Pride 2025 issue 1, written by Megan Brown and Jack A, and art by Soban. Do you know how to say this?
Shaban.
Oh, okay. Shaban Keeney and Bowen McCurdy. And then My Little Pony Generation 5 Greatest Hits by various artists and writers. From Vault, we mentioned Money Shot Bang Bang. This Big Bang. This is, again, when we talk about like some issues with League of Comic Geeks, which is who we use for our solicits and whatnot, there's something clearly off there. And then from Dynamite, for the final week of May, we got Thundercats Lost issue 3, Silverhawks issue 5, Captain Planet issue 2. That'd be great if we get that turnaround in the same month. The Herculoids issue 4, Vampirella issue 3, Space Ghost Johnny Quest, Space Quest issue 2. That one's been getting delayed quite a bit. I know we mentioned the first issue is supposed to come out this month. I wouldn't be surprised if that second issue gets delayed a bit. And then Zootopia issue 4, and then we got the first issue of Gargoyles Demona. This is written by Greg Weisman with art by Frank Power, and this is set in 1093. So back when we originally, like when you first meet the Gargoyles in the show, it's set back in that time, or maybe a little bit earlier. But Demona, obviously, one of the well-known characters from that series. All right, Joe, that is it for our May 2025 solicit. A lot of good stuff coming out this month. Again, started off with a great week. Can't wait for everybody to check that stuff out. I think right now we are continuing our mainline heater as we roll into May as things stand. But you never know. So make sure you subscribe to one of our audio channels. Make sure you get all Friar Side chats delivered right to your listening device. I can't believe I didn't mention this off the rip. Geez, what's going on? That's how you know we got off the rails today. But make sure you subscribe there. Leave a 5-star rating and review. Otherwise, you're learning the real meaning of Tenacious Doc. So, Joe, until next week.
Keep reading.